Alright, disassembly and maintenance for the CRKT Outrage. Now, just forewarning, my blade is not centered at all, and I really don't know how to fix that. I've tried everything. I've tried adjusting the pivot, I've tried swapping the washers and the bearings over, and that still isn't centered. So my theory is it probably got run over by something and then bent one of the handle scales. So I'm gonna have to futz with it a little bit more in depth later on. So basic disassembly, you are going to need a T7 and a T9. T7 being for the pocket clip and the body screws, and T9 being for the pivot itself. Now, basic disassembly, all you're going to be removing is the two body screws and the pivot screw. Now, I've already had this knife apart once today. I've tried to make this video already, and I've failed multiple times because I do not have editing software. I cannot cut, and it's kind of annoying. So without further ado, the body screws, those just come out relatively easily. And then for the pivot, alright, that scale comes off just like so. Now here's where it gets interesting. So you have a little Teflon ring, then you have a little steel washer, and then the bearing itself. Then onto the other side, there is your second bearing, as well as that Teflon ring. Pivot just pops right out the bottom, and then there is another one of those washers right over there. So for the cleaning, hang on one second. Should have been a little bit more prepared. I usually just use alcohol prep pads, or a very light solvent, like WD-40 or Ballistol or something like that. So pretty much just give everything a healthy wipe down, getting all of the schmutz off of there. Clean off your washers. So I've had this knife for probably about a year and a half. I'm not sure if I already said that or not. And it has served me very, very well. When this knife completely breaks, I will definitely be buying another one. but that shouldn't happen for quite some time. Clean off your pivot here. And then everything should go right back together the way it all came off. So pivot goes in. There's a little flat portion on one side of the pivot that is going to line up with a small little cut in the lock bar side. Generally, that'll be facing towards the butt end of the knife. Now with the little metal washers, you'll notice a small groove in one side. That lines up with the bearings. So smooth side is going to go down. I will add a couple drops of oil. The oil that I use, I like Hoppy's 9. It's what's worked for me, and this stuff is amazing. It's relatively inexpensive and you can buy a lot of it. So add just a, come out of there, couple drops to there. Throw in your bearing. Now the bearings, there's an open side. I don't know if y'all can see that. There's a kind of like an open side, and then the other side is smooth. I usually put that smooth side towards the blade. So drop that straight down, add a couple more drops of lubrication, and then throw on one of your Teflon rings. Then the blade. Couple more drops of lube. And then again, closed side down towards the blade. Teflon washer. A couple more drops of lubrication, and then the last of the washers. I'll make sure everything lines up good. And then another thing I like to do, I like to throw a little drop of oil in that detent track and then track it all the way down the blade where the detent ball will ride. And then slap on your scale, and then everything should go together fairly easily. Add a little bit of Loctite. I can tend to overdo it on the Loctite a little bit, but if you do overdo it, next time you go to disassemble it, it might be a little bit difficult. But all you need is a little bit of heat. You can take the tip of a soldering iron and hold it down on the screw, and that'll break free the Loctite. So snug everything down just a little bit. Now the pivot, just do the final adjustments later. I seem to be having some issues here. Body screws. Snug those down nice and tight. Second body screw. Then you'll go and just kind of fine-tune everything, play with your pivot a little bit. try to tune out the blade play, and then move the blade back and forth, just working in that oil, and then everything should smooth up relatively easily. So that's just a quick down and dirty disassembly and cleaning. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.